Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today's video is going to be my weekly watches, or 2 weekly watches. Would it be bi-weekly watches, because there's 2 weeks worth of my watches, because I didn't make a video last week, but it should be back up and regular again now. So yeah, I've decided going forward in these videos I'm not going to be doing any like streaming films or cinema films, anything like that, because this channel is primarily about physical media, my physical media collection. So I thought there's not much point talking, and most of the films that are streamed are these straight to Netflix ones that aren't very good and aren't really worthy to be talked about. So I'm just going to go off of what I've got in my collection, although I'd say other than the first three, all the others are staying in my collection. One of them is a rewatch. Yeah, one of them is a rewatch. The rest are all first time watches. But yeah, the first three, yeah. So first up, I watched Starsky and Hutch. This is the 2004 Todd Phillips movie remake with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, and I'd heard just terrible things about this. But I sometimes really do love these types of films, especially when you got Ben Stiller. I love Zoolander, so when you have Ben Stiller and Wilson teaming up again, you got Vince Vaughn in here as well, Snoop Dogg, just a funny cast, and it's Todd Phillips, who hadn't prior to this seen any bad films of his. Well, that's a lie. Joker, Folie à Deux. That's a complete lie. Comedies, shall we say, of his. But yeah, this just didn't really work. There are a few funny bits, but all in all, I just didn't think the story worked. I don't think it lent itself to a film, or maybe they just didn't do it at the right time. It wasn't made at the right time. Move it over there, you might be able to see it better. Yeah, it got on my nerves a bit after a while. Just the whole story, it just really grated on me after a while. There were, like I said, there were some funny bits that I did laugh at, but after a while it just got irritating, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I was glad that it wasn't that long either, because I was just getting cheesed off with it. But yeah, none. It's gonna get my words out in a minute. It's not staying in the collection. I'm gonna sell this one on, or donate it to charity, because I'm not gonna watch it again. So there's no point having it in my collection. So yeah, that's Starsky and Hutch. Then next up we have Blink Twice, which I did mention in my last pickups video. I don't know how much in depth I went into it, but again, I'm a bit disappointed about it in this one. It was okay. It's not anywhere near on the level as bad as Starsky and Hutch. It was a average okay film. The cast was the main reason I decided to pick this up. The trailer looked interesting. It looked like some sort of like psychological thriller, which was right up my alley. And Channing Tatum's starting to grow on me as a good actor. I do quite enjoy him, especially when he does comedic stuff. But yeah, this one, the story just didn't work for me. The twist just didn't work for me. It's just like, oh no, here we go again. Another one of these films. Didn't have really much, it didn't have a payoff that I enjoyed. Again, the story just, after a while, just kind of tailed off into the deep end and just lost me. The acting was decent, and it was nice to see people like Geena Davis and Kyle MacLachlan, who you don't really see, especially not in films, that much nowadays. They were more in the 90s. So yeah, it's nice to see them pop up in this, and Christian Slater as well. But yeah, I just wasn't overly impressed with this one. It just bored me when the twist was revealed and just left me quite unimpressed. If you've seen it, you probably know what I mean by another one of those films. I won't go into details because I don't want to do any controversial things over here. You can see it for yourself. You can see what you think about it. But yeah, just didn't do anything for me. Didn't excite me. So again, another one that I will probably be selling on. And the last of the mediocre films that I saw in the last 2 weeks, get them out of the way, is An Education, one that I thought I would really enjoy. It's Lone Scherfig who directed One Day, which I really liked. It's got fantastic British cast. You got, well, Peter Sarsgaard, who's American, but everyone else is British. Alfred Molina, Rosamund Pike, Dominic Cooper, Olivia Williams, Emma Thompson, and Carey Mulligan in what I believe is her first leading performance. And performances I didn't have any problem with in this film. I just wasn't a fan of the story. Uh, just didn't do anything for me. It was it's like more of like a woman empowerment film set in the 60s. I thought it was going to be more of a comedy, and it wasn't. It just not my type of film. So yeah, I can't really comment on it. It was a well-made film, but just not the type of film that I would watch again. Didn't impress me that much. So yeah, An Education, another one that I will be passing off of the collection. Probably go to charity this one because I can't imagine it'd be worth very much. Then on to the ones that, well, this next one I don't really know what my opinions are on this next one. But these are all films that I would say on the whole are very good films. Films that I definitely enjoyed. First up we have Mulholland Drive, which I watched in memory of David Lynch. Was the only one at that point in the collection that I had that of his that I hadn't watched. So I thought, yeah, I stick this on, see what it's like. And I didn't understand anything that was happening in this film. And I chatted to a few of the guys in the group, and I think you're not supposed to know what was going on in this film. It's definitely a David Lynch film. It has his name written all over it. Very good performances, but it's a very out there film. It's the type of film I couldn't even begin to explain the plot because, in all honesty, there isn't much of a plot. It's more about the characters and just the wackiness of it all, I think. Naomi Watts, very good in it. Yeah, but if you like David Lynch, definitely give this one a go. It's definitely a David Lynch film, I can tell you that. But yeah, it's just one I think I'm going to have to give it another watch at some point and just try and wrap my head around what the hell was going on in this film because it was just so weird. But I respect it. I respect him for what he did with this film. So yeah, that is Mulholland Drive. Then next up, last Sunday afternoon, last Sunday in all, the two that I picked up in the 2 for 30, which I would have showed in my last video as well. First being Once Upon a Time in the West, which Stuart recommended to me, one of his favourite westerns, and I can see why. Fantastic film. Just a really good western, and yes, I mean, Sergio Leone, one of the best. I mean, this is the only film of his I've seen yet, but I do need to watch the Dollars trilogy. I have got it, so I will be watching them at some point. But, I mean, Henry Fonda, Charles Bronson, Jason Robards, just excellent in this, all three of them. Just a really good, proper western, proper old school western. The score is excellent, exactly what you would expect from like a very sweeping score. The 4K looks excellent as well. Yeah, and just seeing Henry Fonda as playing the villain, playing completely against type, was excellent. Like I said, they all gave excellent performances. It's a beautifully shot film as well, just a really well made film. Basically about power, trying to get land, typical plots in the Western, back in the Wild West, what these outlaws were trying to do, trying to steal land from other people, claim it as their own money, all that sort of things going on in here. Yes, 2 hours 45, but it doesn't drag. It's an excellently made film, and I highly recommend it if you enjoy your Westerns. That's Once Upon a Time in the West. Then next up, probably, yeah, I'm going to say this was the highlight of the last 2 weeks for me, and that will be The Elephant Man, another David Lynch film, which I ordered in the 2 for 30 as well. And wow, what a phenomenal film this is. Just a beautifully made film, very sad, just very well directed, just a beautiful story, obviously about, in this film he's called John Merrick, but in real life he was called Joseph Merrick, a man that's severely disfigured. It is a condition that's more known now, but back then, in what it would have been the Victorian times, people just saw them as freaks, and he was completely taken advantage of, treated horribly, until this doctor, played by Anthony Hopkins, finds him and tries to help him as much as he can. Really treats him as he should be treated, as another human, equal human being. And there's a bit in this towards the end where he's being chased and he gets cornered in the bathroom, and it has you in tears. It is just, John Hurt's performance in this is just incredible, unlike any other performance I've seen. I don't know whether he won an Oscar for this, but he definitely deserved to if he didn't. Just a great film, and the choice of shooting it in black and white really further makes this film what it is. It's just a great film. Definitely a hard watch in places. Just seeing the way that he was treated by other people, the people that just didn't understand him, the cruelty that was shown against him. But yeah, another just fantastic David Lynch film. I would say of the David Lynch films I've seen, this is my favourite. I've only seen 3. I think I've only seen 3 David Lynch films. Unless I'm forgetting one, which I could, in all honesty, be forgetting, but I've seen this, obviously Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet, and it would go this at the top, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, but as I say, all 3 excellent films. But yeah, that's The Elephant Man. If you've not seen this, I implore you to get your hands on this, whether you get the 4K or the Blu-ray, which was remastered. Just grab a copy and give it a watch. 3 to go. Next up, we have what was originally chosen in week just gone's watch pile episode. I'm out of focus. Don't know why that happened. Probably because I was lying back too much. Apologies. I did record a video, but as I explained in my last video, I shot half of it, didn't get to the end of the film, so I couldn't shoot the second half, and then by the time I'd finished the film the following day, I was full of a cold. I did shoot the second half, but it was awful. I don't think it was worth even editing together to upload, because it just wasn't a very good video. So instead I just thought I'll talk about it in this video, briefly go over it in this upcoming week's video, and I'll just use the other picks that were picked out from last week and pick one of them and then go back to normal for the following week. But that film was A Clockwork Orange, which was picked out, which I believe was picked out in the group by Stuart and Nikki, I think, picked this out, if I remember rightly. It's been about a week now almost. But yeah, I'm very glad to watch this. I've not seen many Kubrick. Well, actually saying that, this is the fourth Kubrick film that I've seen. I've seen Doctor Strangelove, which I loved, Eyes Wide Shut, and Full Metal Jacket. No, it's the 5th, because I've seen The Shining as well. Don't know why I forgot about The Shining. Yeah, this is a weird film, but it really echoes today's society, about youth and ultra-violence and being reprogrammed. Excellent performance from Malcolm McDowell. Very hard watch. I can definitely see why this was so controversial back in the day and why it was banned for so long in the UK, because it's very controversial, the topics dealt with in this film. But I think it's an important film. I don't think it should have been banned. I think it does leave a very important message about society and the way people are treated, and all of our justice systems. Lots of messages in this film. Very well made. I'd say this is more... I'd go psychological horror, because there are horrific elements to this film. There's no jump scares, but I think the horror of what he goes through in this film, it's quite a traumatizing watch. It's quite traumatizing to see him go through this, what he goes through. I'm not going to spoil it in case you've not seen it, but if you've not seen it, seminal British film, and highly recommend giving it a watch if you haven't. So yeah, that's A Clockwork Orange. I'm really out of focus, and I don't know why. I don't know. That's a bit better. I don't know why I went out of focus then. Next up is a rewatch for me, gearing up for the new and final installment, I believe, of this film series, and that is Bridget Jones' Diary. Just comfort watching at its finest. British comedy classic. Richard Curtis, just a great British talent. Obviously, you got Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, this, Love Actually. It's loads. I'm having a mind blank. About Time, I love as well. Mr. Bean. Just lots of really characters that have come on. Although this was created by Helen Fielding, but did he write this or did he produce it? He may have just produced it. No, he wrote the screenplay by the looks of things. So, but yeah, if you've not seen these films, if you like comfort watching funny British comedies that aren't too long, definitely worth watching. You got Renée Zellweger as the title character, Colin Firth and Hugh Grant. It's not going to be for everyone because it is quite soppy, it is quite sentimental. So Roy, I don't think you're going to like this film, because if you don't like sentimental hogwash, as you call it, which this definitely is, yeah, you won't like this. But if you do like a nice romantic comedy that's an easy watch, then this is definitely the film for you. But yeah, I've got to watch the other two now, which I'm going to try and space them out because I don't want to watch them too close together. I want to space them out, so I might watch another one next week, and then another one the week after, and then there's only a week to go until the new one comes out. So that's Bridget Jones' Diary. And the final one, which I watched yesterday afternoon, which I've been told many times by many people in the group, especially Stuart, that I need to watch this because it's just an essential science fiction film. And I agree, it was an excellent film. And that is the first original 1968 Planet of the Apes, starring Charlton Heston. It's just a very, very good sci-fi film, ahead of its time. Just a terrific story, just the way that the story is told and the reveal at the end, which I knew about already because you kind of know from the newer films that that's what happens, and a lot of these classic films have unfortunately been spoiled for me through like YouTube and that sort of thing. But nonetheless, still thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was a very well made film. Just the way that the story was told, Charlton Heston's performance throughout this was excellent. The only Charlton Heston film, well, other than Big Country so far, that I've watched that I've enjoyed, because I wasn't a fan of The Omega Man and I wasn't a fan of Soylent Green. But I thought he was very good in this. I thought for the time, the late 60s, the makeup was just really good for the apes. I don't know what the sequels are going to be like. What is there, 4 sequels? And then there's the 2001 Tim Burton remake, which I've heard bad things about, but I will get around to watching. But yeah, I don't know what the sequels are like, so I don't know whether or not to rush and watch the sequels. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Planet of the Apes. Definitely one of the better sci-fi films of the day. So yeah, thank you everyone, especially Stuart, who recommended this to me, because I'm glad I finally got around to watching it. So that is Planet of the Apes, and that is everything I've watched in the last 2 weeks. So unfortunately it has gone on for almost 20 minutes because there was a lot to go through, but if I'm doing it weekly and I'm only doing my pickups, it will probably, like my collection, it will probably be half of that, so probably be half the time, which I'm sure you'll enjoy, because these long videos probably do drag quite a bit, which I do apologise, but I do like to get my thoughts across, and sometimes I can't fully get them across and struggle to fully describe how I feel about these films. But yeah, that is it for this video. Not weekly watches, watch pile will be up Wednesday. I'm going to record that tomorrow because can't do it on Tuesday, so I'll do it tomorrow for Wednesday. And then I don't think there'll be any other videos this week because I've not got any pickups to show as of yet. And I'm going to wait to get some more. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and turn the notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to anyone that leaves me a comment because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.